like to show you how to introduce writing on the wall chalkboard to your child. At school, we've got this great gigantic wall chalkboard. You probably don't have anything quite as large as this, but you could do this activity on a smaller wall chalkboard, on an easel. You could tape some large paper, poster paper, to the wall. But you want to have it so that your child could be standing while they practice, so that they're using their entire arm from the shoulder down to their hand, which is a nice precursor for the muscle memory before they're just doing it with their wrist and fingers on paper or on a horizontal surface. Today we're going to work with this letter, Ah, and I've brought the sandpaper letter over. This is something the child has already traced many times and said ah many times when they've traced it. And now we're going to practice writing it on the wall chalkboard. So first I'll trace the sandpaper letter to remember how to make that shape. Ah. Each time I trace it with the sandpaper letter or write it on the chalkboard, I'm going to make the sound, and I'm going to encourage the child to do that as well, so that what we're doing is using as many modalities as possible to connect the symbol and the sound that that symbol makes, and the kinesthetic of how it is through space. So after tracing it on the sandpaper letter, then I'm going to write it on the wall chalkboard. And I will be kneeling so that it's at the height that is sort of right in front of the child's face. Ah. 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 The chalk that I'm using is quite small, and we do that on purpose so that in order to use it successfully, the child has to use these 3 fingers in a tripod grasp, rather than having it longer and having funky things happening with the hand, a fist, or other things. This kind of helps to strengthen these fingers, which should be nice and round when you're writing with a pencil, crayon, or whatever else you're writing with. Now the rainbow chalk that we have is really just small pieces of colored chalk. And many children like to use these then in the order of the rainbow, though of course they could use them in any order that they choose. So invite your child to choose one of the colors and to trace on top of your letters, and frequently you'll need to show them where to start, and you may need to remind them of that each time until you start seeing it become more automatic. And what we're going for here is a real flow of that letter. So one thing I tell children frequently is to put the chalk down and draw the whole letter before you pick the chalk up again, so that you're making that cursive letter without constructing it. So the child would copy over the example that you've drawn. Ah. 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 Then they can choose a different color chalk and do it again. Ah. 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 By the time they've used all 6 colors of chalk in the drawer, they will have practiced this letter 30 times. They'll probably be quite tired. Nevertheless, if they are interested, try another letter. Thanks.